It's week 7 of the LSBA. This is a huge week. We are all trying to figure out who's going to end up in the playoffs. And so it's an important week where we discover more and more what our chances of ending up in the top 4 are going to be. And so we're going to start off with Azoth versus Rodney. This is probably not a Brave Bird Tapu Koko. Well, they both sent in their terrain setters. Azoth has his Rillaboom, and Tapu Koko is on the other team, and Rillaboom was a little bit slower, so his grassy terrain procced. He sent his Tapu Koko in first because that was what he wanted to do. And he leads with Fake Out. And it took 2 PP because this Corviknight has pressure, and he takes no damage from it. It's basically like he led Corviknight, and he has Brave Bird on it. That's kind of nice. So Azoth switches in Jellicent, and the Corviknight U-turns. The Jellicent takes almost no damage from the Brave Bird, and Jellicent gets a Toxic onto the Serperior that just switched in. Everyone's health is recovering a little from the grassy terrain. He switches in his Grass Resist Vikavolt, and Serperior uses a Leaf Storm on the Vikavolt. It only does 25% damage. He's got a Toxic on his Serperior. So the next attack's going to do 50%, and Vikavolt can live with 25% remaining. We don't know for sure if the Serperior is a Scarf. So he might have, like, Hidden Power Rock. And we'll just have to see. No. He knows that he doesn't want to take in a Bug Buzz, so he switches into his Quad Bug Resist Corviknight, and he does go for Bug Buzz. He can't take any risks against this Serperior. This Serperior just tears through teams. It's the destroyer of teams. And Rodney stays in with his Corviknight, because he doesn't want his Tapu Koko taking any damage. And a Discharge after the Bug Buzz special defense drop will do it. It takes out the Corviknight. And then he sends in his Tapu Koko because Vikavolt can't. So Vikavolt can't take advantage of the electric train because of its levitate. They said either you get to get rid of electric's only weakness, or you get to use electric terrain. There's no two ways about it. And so he switches in his Rillaboom to get rid of the electric surge and resist any electric attacks, but he uses Dazzling Gleam. It does nothing. It does 27%, and he heals it from the Grassy Surge. Rodney switches in his Hurum Black, and it takes a Fake Out. The Fake Out, I am realizing, is to stall for grassy terrain healing, and he switches in. Azoth switches in his Jellicent to take an Icicle Spear and resist it, which was a good choice. And it was lucky that everyone's going for the default option and not predicting any switches, because Jellicent is annoying. Hurum uses Icicle Spear on the Jellicent. It takes about 20% damage. No, it takes 27% and heals from the grassy terrain. That is a choiced Hurum. It's either Specs or it's either Band or Scarf. So he has to switch out. He switches into his Serperior, expecting a Will-O-Wisp or Scald. But I'm not sure why Azoth switches in his Ninetales specifically, but I'm expecting an Aurora Veil getting set up. It might be Scarfed, it might be able to Blizzard. The Ninetales takes a Leaf Storm and survives with 44%. The Superior gets hit by a Freeze Dry, but it's gotta have hit point or special defense investment, because it only takes 43%. And we can see that the Superior is much faster than Ninetales. So he's gonna have to switch. Or maybe Ice Shard. He might have Ice Shard. And he switches into Vikavolt. It takes the 50%. No, it doesn't. It was a crit. It would have survived if things had worked out. But luckily, the Superior goes down from the Hail and the Toxic. So Rodney switches in his Hurum, and they both get a free switch. It's a new lead, and the grassy terrain is gone. He doesn't have terrain extender, so he sends in his Rillaboom to reset the grassy terrain, and there we get a fake out. It's a fake out between hail and grassy terrain. You get hurt, I survive. So Hurum goes for Dragon Claw, expecting him to make the same play of switching in Jellicent, and he can probably hit Jellicent twice with the Dragon Claw, call it good. Because he doesn't want to do 20% damage, he wants to do like 30% damage. Rillaboom hits Hurum with the Brick Break, and the Dragon Claw does too much to his Rillaboom, but Rodney switches out. Azaz switches out. They both switch out. There's Ninetales and Tapu Koko back. Ninetales barely survives the Thunderbolt, the terrain-boosted Thunderbolt, and manages to set up an Aurora Veil, which I think is going to make a huge difference. He switches back into his Rillaboom to take the Volt Switch. The Aurora Veil's not going to do Conga any good, because he has only got a few percent hits. The Fake Out does 13 to Hurum. Azaz was hoping he might go for a Dragon Claw again, but he doesn't. He goes for Iron Head. And it hits the Ninetales Alola for that last 3%. Switches in Wet Boy Summer, but this is like a banded Conkeldurr. It's gotta be, because it hits him with a Hammer Arm and it knocks out the Politoed in one hit. So he sends in his Tapu Koko to be able to Dazzling Gleam and resist the Hammer Arm. But who's he probably going to switch into? Probably Bronzong. No, he keeps Conkeldurr in. And just accepts the 42% damage on it. Hits him with a Hammer Arm. He can live another Dazzling Gleam and knock out this Tapu Koko. But he doesn't. He switches in his Bronzong. Because nothing's really going to like a Euro Ball here. And, oh my gosh, he uses Psychic. He could see the future. He Psychicked the Hawlucha because Gyro Ball wouldn't have done enough damage from the Fighting Resist and the defense boost from the Terrain Seed. Hits him with a close combat. It's not enough. And then they speed swap. What? They speed swap? That's crazy. That's crazy. He uses a never before seen move in the whole LSBA. Swaps his really bad speed onto the Hawlucha and takes his base, 110? But both his other Pokemon are faster than our guy here. They're both faster than Hawlucha, but because he doesn't get to steal the unburden boost, just the base stat. I think. Maybe base stat plus. Nope. Nope, he's super fast. He got to use Steel Roller on the Hurum Black. I think it was Taco who first used Steel Roller, but it might have been Azoth. I can't remember that much about this. And he goes for Dazzling Gleam. Why would you Dazzling Gleam? Why wouldn't you Thunderbolt? Okay, if he had gone for Thunderbolt, that would have been it. And we found out that this Hurum was Choice Band and not Choice Scarf. That's how he wasn't faster than the Bronzong. And that knocks it out. It's a 4-0. And then Taco just kept saying Glimbo a lot. And that was a running joke at the end. I think it was in another video that we did that. And then here's the super exciting next battle. Our two front runners, David, who's only lost once, and Alex, who's also only lost once up to this point. And we're all excited about it. They both send out their fake out users. There's Zorora and Metacham Mega. But the Zorora is faster and does 19% to this Metacham. He switches out into his Pelipper, because Metacham has like no defense. And switches into his Dragapult, does a U-turn, but Pelipper also does a U-turn. Up to this point, they've done the exact same move. Turn 1, they both fake out. Turn 2, they both switch out. Turn 3, they both use U-turn. That's what it takes to be a top player in the LSBA. And he sends in his Incineroar. His Intimidate doesn't really proc because of the U-turn. It intimidated the Pelipper, but the Pelipper didn't decide to warn the Swampert about anything. He might have Fake Out on it. No, he doesn't go for Fake Out. He goes for Stealth Rock. The Incineroar boldly goes for a Parting Shot. Lower both those stats. I don't care if you Waterfall me. I don't care if you Earthquake me. I'm gonna lower your attack a little bit. And he sends in his Dragapult, who's super fast, but not faster than the Swamp. Nope, he is actually faster than the Swampert. Hits him with a Draco Meteor. He might get a Ice Punch in return. Alex does have to switch out because that Ice Punch is gonna do way more than his Draco Meteor. We're getting a U-turn this turn. Nope, no U-turn, even though he's faster. Oh, because it's Specs or something. Yeah, it's no reason to make it Scarfed. And he hits him, tries to hit the Swampert with another Intimidate, but he switches out into a Celestiala, and the Incineroar uses Will-O-Wisp on the Celestiala because that's the only thing you're really going to do to him. I mean, he's slow enough, you can't really reduce his speed. He's Steel, so you can't Toxic him as much as you really need to be able to Toxic Celestiala. But, you know, Incineroar does another Parting Shot after knocking off the Celestiala's leftovers. I don't know if that's great, but it is super annoying to have leftovers on the Celestiala. And hang on, so far there's no issues with their movesets, no issues with their plays, but somehow David knows that Alex is gonna switch in his Nidoking, so he Earthquakes. Or no, he was just trying to plain Earthquake the Incineroar. Because it has no recovery, but Celestiala does, and he switches in on the very turn that the rain goes out, because Alex knows how to plan, how to count the turns, because he played in Gen 5 probably, and he could go for Flamethrower, he could go for Thunderbolt. We're gonna find out. But actually he goes for Ice Beam, because I don't know. He doesn't go for either of those. It doesn't seem like a reasonable expectation that he would switch in his Dragonite. Oh yeah, this is a really cool play. He goes for Ice Beam to make it seem like he doesn't have Thunderbolt. He just wants to make him think he doesn't have Thunderbolt or Flamethrower. And he gets his, he does the Ice Beam again. He knows he's gonna protect. And then he switches in his Pelipper. And here's what happens. He goes for Thunderbolt. He was just faking him out that whole time. That was amazing. That's the highlight of the whole season for me, to be honest. Like, I've watched all the other, what is it, 5 times 6, the other 30 battles. No, that was it. That was the coolest play I've seen. I wouldn't have come up with that at all, and I've been playing this for like 10 years. And he switches in his Ribombee, expecting maybe an Earthquake onto the Nidoking. Although just as likely he could have Waterfalled. And I guess the Ribombee has Energy Ball. He's gotta. But he gets hit by a Flip Turn because he wants to switch out his Swampert. And the Ribombee takes 24%. Oh no, I'm sorry. He took 24% from the rocks. The Flip Turn knocked it out. I don't know what he was thinking there. Maybe he wanted to just make a sack. Oh right, he makes an actual video. He can't get faked out because he's a ghost. But he can get knocked off. And then the Draco Meteor, I assume it might be a Scarfed Draco Meteor. Yeah, he knocked off the Choice Scarf. And then Metacham is faster now. He can hit him with the Fake Out. But it's really not enough. The Metacham takes more damage from the Slowking's Rocky Helmet than he does. And he doesn't go for Zen Headbutt. Because it's a neutral hit against the Slowking. But the Slowking gets a boosted Scald, and the Incineroar hangs on by a hair and hits him with a knockoff. It knocks off that Rocky Helmet. But, Slowking Galar just has Regenerator. There's nothing you can do to him. And then we get the Earth Power. But, in revenge, David sends out his Swampert, who has the boosted Rain. Switches in the Zorora to fake out anything he wants. Yep, that's a free fake out. He knows he's faster. He knows it's not a Scarfed Weavile fake out strat. And he expects his Weavile to get knocked out here. He expects it to get knocked out by a close combat. So he does what he can while he can to make it a little easier for the Metacham here. But David goes to preserve his differential. And then hits him with the triple axle. It does so much damage, and it's a Celestiala too. It did 54% damage to a Celestiala. That's amazing. But no, he doesn't go for another fake out. He goes for an extreme speed. And he tries to Ice Punch the Dragonite, but it's too evasive because he didn't want his Dragonite to get faked out and then Ice Punched. He wants to do the faking out. No, he hits him with the Plasma Fist, because why not? And it's this battle where we all say Glimbo a bunch, because Glimbo shows up, says Glimbo. Rodney says, I say Glimbo. Rodney says Glimbo. Rodney says GG Glimbo. Yeah, and that's it. Sorry. Well, yeah, that was an amazing match between our two front runners. His two Volt Turners, and most of his guys only ended up using one move. This might be a banded Dragonite. We will never know. And then I gotta watch, those ones last. So let's switch that around and watch the Rossi versus Dylan battle now. These... Oh, and Dylan says he's at work while playing this. He sends in his Deoxys. The Deoxys gets hit by a fake out and takes 8% damage. 18% damage. It's more than anything. It's more than nothing. And he switches. Rossi switches in his friendless Blissey, and Deoxys sets up both his screens, reflect and light screen. Gets hit by a toxic. I don't see. No. The Altaria might be a heal bell setter, but yeah, Deoxys defense has no recovery. It's not called Deoxys recovery. He's called Deoxys defense. And Jack comments that everyone runs screens this season, and he hasn't. Might have saved him a few battles, because they both have screens up. And he switches in the Landorus, the general top tier for the last 10 years. The balanced top tier. And oh my gosh, that extra critical hit from the Smart Strike really paid off. It did extra damage on top of ignoring a reflect. And this Tangrowth has hidden power fire, but he's Dylan switches in his fire resist. Dylan's been running a lot of special sets, or at least in the battle I had with this Altaria, so he switches in his special defender, although I think a couple of returns would probably mess him up. But he has the reflect up, so maybe he could have gotten a toxic onto the Altaria Mega, who no longer has natural cure. He switches in his really strong fighting move user to use Sacred Sword on the Chansey and absorb the toxic, because Steels can't get poisoned. But he goes for a knockoff. He was hoping to knock off the Eviolite, cut his defenses by a lot. And what? Tangrowth tried to use Sludge Bomb because he was expecting him to do the same thing, switch in his fire resist, and then get it hurt by poison. But that's not what happens. He switches in his Deoxys because he wants to renew his reflect and light screen, and they both want to do the same thing. It's exactly what happened the last time Deoxys was out. He got hit by a toxic, and he switched in his Grimmsnarl, and then they both set up screens. And the snipe shot is kind of helpful, because I think Sniper makes him have higher critical hit or something, so it would ignore the screens. And he doesn't want to get his screen stalled out by a fake out from the what's-his-face, by the Lopunny Mega, who is a boy. I think that's weird. And so he sends in his Altaria to get hit by the fake out. And it does 12% damage. And here comes the Scolipede for the first time. He gets hit by a Moonblast that he resists. And it does knock down his special attack that he's not going to use. But he gets hit by the Flamethrower. And oh boy, did that do a lot past that that screen. He gets a Swords Dance off, and he's only going to get faster. He's going to be able to outspeed this Alakazam and hit him with a Mega Horn. And the Swords Dance basically neutralized the effects of the Reflect from a practical sense. And I guess this is like... it must be a Scarfed Kartana, because why else would you send him in? And he has Protect, and it serves two purposes. He gets his speed boost, and he gets to stall out the Reflect here. And I don't think any of Dylan's remaining Pokemon are good. Wow. I don't think any of his remaining Pokemon are good priority users. And Dylan did a weird thing here. He's got Air Slash on his Kartana. It's got like 35 base special attack, and he goes for Air Slash. And it... I guess he does have a lot of flying weaknesses. He has 3 flying weaknesses, but you know, you gotta admit that's weird. That was definitely interesting, because what else is a Kartana gonna be able to do to a Scolipede? He's got Steel, he's got Bug. It's not enough. And he hits him with another Earthquake, because those are his 2 attacks. He has Earthquake, he has Poison Jab. No Mega Horn, no nothing. And he knows that Donphan's pretty tanky and usually carries a rock move, and he can probably do a lot to these hyper offense glass cannons here, Alakazam and Indolon. The Earthquake does nothing to the grass resisting, bulky Tangrowth. And he doesn't want his Tangrowth to get hit by the Psyshock, because Tangrowth is going to be way too awesome against this Donphan and Indolon. And Scolipede needs a lot of setup. Oh, okay, so Dylan explained. He messed up. He wanted it to be Aerial Ace on his Kartana, not Air Slash. That might have made a big difference, but... you know, the Scolipede does end up going down. The Alakazam takes quite a bit from an Earthquake. And then it makes it so he's knocked out by just a Fake Out. And he switches in his Earthquake. It deals exactly the same damage because he got his Regenerator boost off on his Tangrowth. And then he hits him with the Ice Shard. It crits and it doesn't do very much. But the Energy Ball, it's good enough, but he had Sturdy on his Donphan and Leftovers. All that's left is this Indolon, and he's Rossi switches in his Landorus and goes for a Fake Out here. He might go for a second Fake Out. No, he went for Quick Attack. He had Quick Attack Lopunny Mega because he loved Fake Out so much. Just in case the Indolon was scarfed, he wanted to go for Quick Attack because he knew it would do it. Return might have hit just as easily, but yeah, that was pretty awesome. I really think that you need to form a better relationship with your Chansey so that it can turn into a Blissey, but other than that, yeah. Landorus got no use this round. A lot of good things happened. And let's go to the best for last. The Jack battle. And it's also Jack versus Jacob. Jacob. And, we all love his teams. We all love that he has Reuniclus. No, not Reuniclus. Runaringus. And he switches in his Runaringus into V-Create from the Victini. This is his physical defender, and it does 76% damage. Oh my gosh. And I don't know what Victory Star does, actually. I gotta look it up. So it looks like Victory Star just boosts his accuracy. And that's really helpful to Victini, because he has moves like Volt Strike and, I don't remember. Which have, a little bit less accuracy. He hits him with another V-Create, and it's on a fire resist even, and Tapu Fini takes 67% damage. But the mystery terrain's up. And the pretty much only drawback to V-Create is that it lowers his speed. So that turn he would have been able to get hit by a Surf. And it might have knocked him out because he had half speed, he had half special defense. And all you need to do to get rid of that drop is switch him out. But Jack knows that there's the Surf coming in. So he just sends in the guy who's only going to take 5% damage from either Surf or Moonblast and can't get Toxic. He's the perfect Tapu Fini counter. And he sends in his Scizor. I guess he's going to start Swords Dancing with the Scizor, because I don't know. I don't know what a Scizor can do to a... Oh, he can knock off. Oh my gosh, he knocked off the Toxic Orb on the... That was the only opportunity that was going to happen. That seriously weakens a Glysaur more than anything else. Knocking any other Pokemon, knocking off the Toxic Orb is a huge thing. Oh, and Jack is so sad about what happened to his Glysaur that he doesn't even switch in his Empoleon. He just gets rid of his Glysaur. But here comes a V-Create. But the Electrode is a little faster. So that's why he knows that it will switch out. He goes into his guy, and he gets to start setting up the quiver dances. But Empoleon, why would you send in your Empoleon? Does he have Waterfall? No, he still has Scald, and it doesn't do enough. Oh my gosh, but the Aqua Jet is enough after that. Oh no. This is why you gotta use Roost. But he gets the burn. He expected it to be a full special set. He was like, I am not going to take any damage from special attacks. I'm fine. This game gets pretty crazy. But he wants to avenge him. He wants to hit him with an electric attack that does half his damage. And these guys are both in Pokken Tournament. That's fun. Scizor and Empoleon. Oh no. But the Scizor gets the burn. You can't burn a Scizor. It makes them sad. So far, Jacob's avoided sending in his Ditto. And he keeps switching in his Electrode to Volt Switch, but this time he does a Thunderbolt on the Empoleon. Just, because you want Want to get him out. And I guess it's Specs Electrode, because he doesn't Volt Switch this turn. And Jacob switches in his Runaringus, transfers his Wandering Spirit, and gets rid of Zarude's Leaf Guard, which wasn't going to do anything. And hits them with a Darkest Lariat. But the Signal Beam is a quad super effective. Unless you switch in the Rotom, and then it's half resisted. Here's the Ditto. Because he needs that electric resist. He needs something to survive it. And he's totally able to spam his overheats, because it doesn't do enough. And now he's stuck in on his Specs Electrode. And all he can do is Signal Beam. Something that has too much defense for being so powerful. And Victini gets like, what was that, 5 KOs? And there was a chance that the Victini would have got confused from the Signal Beam. But yeah, that was oh darn. Yeah, that was the week 7 of LSBA. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Next week, week 8, that's when things are gonna get decided for a lot of people, whether they're gonna go into playoffs or not. It'll be hopeless or it won't be.